Hello and welcome to The Villain Was Right, the podcast where we look at movies and TV shows from the villain's perspective and dare to ask, were they really all that bad? I'm your host, Rebecca Reeds.
And I'm your host, Craig Fay.
And this week we are talking about The Penguin, the series.
HBO series, yeah.
Oh my God, so good. Anyway, so much to talk about, and we are joined by a very, very, very special guest. Hello and welcome to Diana McCallum, who is, of course, I would say half of our fearless leader.
Yes.
One half of our fearless leaders. Talk from Superheroes. Just released. You got to get on this, everybody. Sex Lives of Superheroes, the fantastic book. I just got my pre-order today. Hello.
Hello.
That was the longest intro I've ever given anybody, and I'm so sorry.
It got me so hyped. Like, am I here yet? I'm not here yet.
I'm so sorry.
I am here, but I'm not here yet.
It's like that jump rope thing where they keep counting you in and they never quite get to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold up your book again.
In case we use the video. That Lonely Island sketch where the beat never drops.
Mm-hmm.
Oh! Yeah, that's Rebecca introducing me.
Hello. Yeah. Whoops. Anyway, sorry. You just have too many credits. You have too many wonderful things about you.
One book, one podcast. That's all it takes to overwhelm Rebecca.
And our fearless leader.
I am half of your fearless
Good
leader.
friend. Yeah.
Good friend.
I love that.
Yes. Good friend. I'm invited to the wedding. Yes, so many credits. And we're here to talk about The Penguin. Have you been, Diana, had you been watching along?
Yes, my podcast is called Talk from Superheroes. So
yes, of course. Okay, so yes.
I tend to watch these things.
Well, no, it's because some people do like to wait until it's out and then they binge.
Yes.
So I guess that was more of my question. Of course,
sorry.
you were going to watch it. I know you're like a Batman head. Like you and I, we love Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You're more of a James Bond man.
I mean, I like a good Batman.
I think you like them both.
I like a Batman. I mean, Batman and James Bond are very, very close.
They are. That's why I brought
Gadgets,
them up.
cars.
Yes. Gadgets, cars, all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, you were week to week.
I was a week-to-week watch.
Yeah, myself as well. How did you feel about this series?
Oh, I mean, it's amazing. I was watching it, and like weeks ago, you told me we were going to be covering it. I'm like, oh, great, I was going to watch it anyway. Love that. And I'm like, don't know what our angle's going to be here, but we'll figure it out. But the show is incredible. The acting. I think we should say we're going to talk about the whole show, so spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, spoilies, yes.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're going to ruin everything.
Out of here. Get out of here.
If you haven't seen it yet, it's really good. Go watch it.
Yes. Oh, my God, yes.
Yes. The performances, the tension, the twists, everything is incredible about it. I don't even like mob stuff, and this is like not even that superhero-y because no one has powers. Batman's not here. That's kind of a spoiler, but not really. And it's just like, this is just a mob show, and it's so good.
Yeah, and I was really hesitant to watch this show. I was the guy rolling his eyes, be like, HBO's making a fucking Penguin movie. Like I'd seen the Batman, I enjoyed it just fine, but I was like, we don't need another cinema. I don't need another thing.
Did.
Yeah, and then I started watching it, and I was like, oh, this is justified. Like its existence is justified by how good it is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you had a story to tell. This wasn't just I think we were talking to somebody over drinks a while ago, and they were like, it's not just like to get more buy-in for like, it's not to secure your purchase for the Batman 2, right? Or like you need to watch this in order to get what happens in the Batman sequel. You're just like, oh, this is a story that is worth telling on its own. And I was really impressed with it. I was hooked from like episode 1. Yeah.
Oh, me too. Because that's what I told myself. I was like, I'll watch one episode, and if I like it enough, I'll watch the rest. And watching that first episode, I was like, this is better than half the movies. I was like, this is better than most of the movies. I have to keep watching this. And then they just kept stacking on top of each other. I was like, how is this getting better?
Yeah.
How? I beg. Okay, it shouldn't be getting better because we already started so high. And then we got to episode 4, and I thought, oh man, alive. That might have been, I think it was episode 4.
Is that the Sophia flashback?
Yeah,
Episode 4.
That was genuinely one of the best episodes of television I've ever watched in my entire life.
The one where she's in the insane asylum.
Yes, it's so
I
good.
mean, I think I felt that about like every episode though. Like episode 4 is also really good, but there was no episode where I was like, just a fine one this week.
Yeah, no, they all really stacked up, but I found that one in particular was just such a piece of art. It felt like you could grab it from the series, pull it out, just watch that, and I felt every emotion that woman went through.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought they did a tremendous job.
And I like specifically in the context of this podcast, the villain was right. I was like, oh, I think that's the one where we're doing it.
Oh.
Because previously it's like, oh, she's the hangman. She killed all these women. She went nuts. She got put away in an insane asylum because she was running crazy, killing all these women. And then you see how it actually plays out, and you're like, oh, you're not who we thought you. We're not who we were told you were.
Yes.
You know,
Your backstory. And normally we run like a this is what happened. I mean, basically what happened in this series is we started with a backstory of a bit of a backstory with the Penguin. We kind of see how he's coming up. You, in my opinion, you have a bit of sympathy for this man.
Yeah.
You buy in, you go, okay, I've got a bit of sympathy for this man. Sophia's a little off her rocker. And then they do a full flip. And you start realizing, and pretty quickly, I would say, you start realizing that this is a man you should have no sympathy for.
Yeah, but I did.
No, I didn't.
Almost right to the end.
Because for me, it felt, this series kind of felt a little Breaking Bad for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where you watch it and you go, how fast am I going to realize this person's the villain? And the Penguin is a villain.
Yes.
He's literally a comic book villain that is starring in this. And just because he's starring in it doesn't mean he's not the fucking villain.
Yeah. And and to that point, I did think that they were going to be like, it's about the Penguin. So Sophia is going to be the villain to the villain. Mm-hmm. Like, she's going to be the worst villain, and we're going to be cheering for the Penguin the whole time. No. Oh, and they did it so well, too.
They did it so well. Yeah, you expect kind of the Harley Quinn show does this, where like Harley Quinn usually like stops Joker.
Yes.
Like the animated show. It's like, yeah, she's a bad guy, but she's stopping more bad guys. They're like, she's doing stuff that's not too bad. But yeah, in this show, they were just like, no, you should be rooting for Sophia, but she's not the main character. Sorry.
Yeah.
This girl's got legitimate grievances.
Yeah.
Because I watched the last 2 episodes together. And honestly, I kind of think that's how you should watch it, because the second last episode, I kept thinking, how is this not the finale? How is this? This is so action-packed. So much is happening. There's so many reveals. And then you see exactly what the aftermath of having all that knowledge is. It's almost like you couldn't stomach the last episode without the second last one, because you needed to understand fully the roots of what was going on here. So good. Watching them back to back was nuts. I immediately switched to a Bob's Burgers episode. I was like, okay,
oh yeah,
can't go to bed. Can't go to bed. Need a little something.
Craig said something I agree with, which was very quick, where he was like, I was rooting for him almost until right at the end. And I'm like, yes, right at the end, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, because that's
the real villain turn.
Yeah.
The most villainous.
And I mean, so like he strangles... we already spoiled alert. He strangles Vic.
He strangles Vic.
Victor, which I knew he was going. I was certain. I was certain he got him.
I really,
yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't certain, but I was like, if Vic says the wrong thing, he can go at any moment, because he has seen Penguin at his most vulnerable, and like I could see Penguin not wanting anyone to have seen him that way.
Well,
but it was like I also would have understood if he didn't kill him.
So I thought it was like, okay, this guy's gonna be hard to like. People will become attached to Vic, And if Vic's not in the next Batman movie, then people be like, where's Vic? And then so I was like, but at the same time, he's not a big enough character that like once you have Batman in it, you're going to be like, and let's get some screen time for Vic, right? So I was like, he's probably going to die at the end of this. But the turn of Vic was fine until he said that he was family. And then the Penguin was like,
Gotta get you.
I can't have family, which is, and here's my most controversial opinion about this show. I know that the Penguin is historically a Batman villain, but that is not the Penguin. That is not the bird he is. He is a cuckoo.
Okay.
Because a cuckoo.
More about the cuckoo, Craig.
Okay, so the cuckoo is a bird.
Okay.
And what it does is it goes and it lays its eggs in other birds' nests. And the other bird incubates the egg, and the cuckoo hatches first, and then pushes the rest of the eggs out of the nest. And then the other bird comes and feeds that one. So it's a parasite.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, your family out of the nest. Goodbye. See you later. Like, and the last scene of this show where it's his mother and his girlfriend dressed up like his mother. Woo! And it's just in the penthouse apartment. Woo! And you're like, oh, you were full psycho the entire time.
Yeah.
And then just like, I'm so happy Batman didn't show up. Just the bat signal at the end. I was like, oh, that is how we end this. Like,
I also really liked that ending because like they had just villainized Penguin enough that I had basically been rooting for him for 8 episodes. But then at the end, he's like trapped his mom upstairs. He won't let her pass. He's killed Vic. And I'm like, yeah, we should kick this guy's ass. And then the bat signal pops. I'm like, get him, Batman. I'm not rooting for him anymore. So the timing is perfect. And the turn is just enough. It's like, yeah, we're done. He's fully evil now. Batman can kick his ass in Batman 2. And you'll be like, yeah, this is for Vic.
but always fully evil.
I had full turn on episode 4.
Which one was episode 4? What happened in episode?
When Sophia goes to when we see her whole flashback.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the kids.
What do you
Oh, sorry. Sophia's flashback.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sophia's flashback. Okay, when she's in the asylum, all that whole episode. The second that episode was done, I was like, light this guy up on fire. Light him on fire. Fuck the Penguin. I got no fucking sympathy. Light him up. Get him.
I didn't really hate him that much.
I hated him. I hated him from that moment on.
He ratted her out to her dad, but he didn't send her to Arkham.
And the dad to me was the more standout villain in that, where it's like,
nah, for me, I just thought you allowed this to happen. You did nothing outside of that, and the second this woman got out, you killed her brother.
yeah.
I was like, you dogged her so hard.
Yeah.
And also, kudos to her brother, who actually was like such a stand-up guy. Like for a guy who was like kind of a like just like a drug head loser who didn't know how to run the business. When she was like, he visited me every week for 10 years. I'm like, I wouldn't do that for Andrew, probably.
You hear that, Andrew? You listening to this right now?
He knows. I told him when it aired.
I told him when it aired.
For 10 years?
That's a lot.
I'm
How far
skipping
is Arkham? I think
a
it's pretty
week.
far.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
I'm out in Europe at least one of those weeks. Like I gotta be gone
Alberto
somewhere.
was a good brother.
He was a good brother.
Bad guy, good
Bad
brother.
guy, good brother.
Yeah. Which is it's when I got off board, I was like, I think the Penguin in that episode, I was like, I think I'm stumbling all over my words here, but I do think there was a point where I was like, oh, the Penguin is genuine in wanting to reconcile with Sophia. Like, where it's like, I didn't know that was going to happen. I thought it was for your own good. I thought you were in trouble. I thought you were doing this. I didn't know they were going to do that to you. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he immediately rats her out when the Maronis come and like hold them at gunpoint. And I was like, oh, the show convinced me that you are a good guy because you're such a smooth talker. And you're like, oh, that's his superpower in this, is like he's a charming guy who can kind of talk his way in and out of so many situations.
Because he's a pure psychopath.
Well, yeah.
He's got no emotion.
And the reveal in the flashback episode of his brothers.
Dude, the brothers episode was fucking chilling.
Yeah.
It was chilling.
Especially because, like, they were good brothers. Like, they didn't pick on him. They didn't tease him about his leg. They were like, no, you can hang out with us and we're going to protect you. And then for him to just murder them in cold blood is like, drowning.
Yeah.
With, like, hours and hours to change his mind. Not like I did it in a flash. Like, I had a gun and I regret it.
Yeah. Or they got trapped into there and then I couldn't get the door back open. He just left.
And sat there snuggling with his mother with a little smile on his face, like, I got mommy's love.
And then for that to be the trigger for him to be like, oh, right, the tunnels under Gotham. That's a great place to set up a drug lab. And you're like, you set up a drug lab where you drowned your brothers? Like, well, obviously that information comes in separate order, but like, you're like, oh yeah, no, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But so charming the whole way through it. Like in a disturbing way. Like he's winning me over, and now you understand why he gets away with things.
But I think that's just so true. Like, I just think that's so well written and so true, because anytime I've ever met somebody who, in my heart of hearts, I believe is actually like fundamentally bad, like does bad things and kind of gets off on it, gets into it, always very charming.
Yeah.
Always a very charming person. Always somebody that can talk their way into places, figure it out, because they don't care. There's no limits.
Yeah, he does. Colin Farrell is incredible in this and totally just like erased by the prosthetics. So you're like, this is just Penguin. This isn't Colin Farrell, which is incredible. But like, yeah, he does add this incredible charm, even when he's being very dangerous. I think it's such a quick moment, but there's a quick scene where he's like threatening the city councilor and he's got the pliers up his nose and he's in the city councilor's like, okay, I'll turn the power back on. And then he gets in his car to like run away and Penguin's just like, you got a lot of room, you can keep backing it up. And he just like, he just turns into like a regular dude who's like, your parking is shit. It's so fast. And you're like, shit, I like the Penguin again, really.
Yeah.
He just tortured that like pretty nice man, but I'm like, oh fuck, he's so charming.
Yeah. So, and that's maybe a good part to jump off on the premise of this podcast, which we have not gotten to yet.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I have some more arguments for the Penguin and
for
other
the Penguin.
But I'll start with this one, which is he is the one that got the lights back on in that neighborhood. There's also a scene where he goes like, he's basically asking for the loyalty of the guys running his drug thing. And he goes like, I got you jobs. I got you money in your pocket. I did this. Like, the rest of the city doesn't fucking care about you people. They don't care about this neighborhood. They'll let you rot and drown and whatever it is. And he's like, I'm the guy who's providing. I'm the guy who gets the heat back on. I'm doing this. And in that, like, it really did show to me what a sort of vacuum Gotham City is in terms of, like, no wonder there's fucking psychopaths and, like, the Joker and the Riddler and the Penguin and Two-Face and all these guys. Because you're like, oh, the city doesn't care about most of the people.
Yeah.
They don't care and they don't seem to have the resources either. It's a double down of both. But yeah, I agree with these points that I think Penguin is a psychopath, but he's not a psychopath like, I'm going to go out and like just murder women like Carmine Falcone did. He's not going to kill you unless he has a reason to. But he also gets the lights back on. But he doesn't do that because he likes people. He does it because he wants to be loved. But that doesn't mean he didn't do it. He still did it. But it does put a limit of things he will do. Like, for example, I don't think the Penguin would ever have blown up several blocks like Sophia did, because he actually respects the people who live in the poor neighborhoods. But Sophia being like, this rich person doesn't care about poor neighborhoods. She's like, yeah, send a bomb down and we'll blow up several blocks of people. But I don't think Penguin would ever have done something like that, because he actually is like, these are my streets and this is where I live.
Yeah, I mean, I think the show shows that he'll do almost anything if it serves his self-interest.
It will, but he does want to be liked real bad.
He does want to be liked, yeah. Yeah, and that's actually the inciting incident of the entire show, which is he's sitting down with the brother and is actually getting along with the brother, and he's talking himself out of a bad situation where he's stealing from the Falcone. Oh, sorry, what was it?
They're the Falcones, yeah.
Yeah, but the guy who died.
Alberto.
Alberto, yeah. He's like literally stealing from his father, and he's talking his way out of it. And then he goes, it's so lame that you look up to this guy, this old criminal guy who was like loved in the neighborhood and they had parades. He's like, that's what you fucking think? You're a fucking idiot or whatever. And that's why he shoots him. Is because he's mocking the gangster that he looked up to, who we later learn is the guy who was hired by his mother to kill him.
Well, okay.
Offered,
yes. Oh, you know what? I'd love to talk about that very briefly because that whole scene is insane. So essentially, we have the mother who knows. We find out that the mother knows that the penguin killed his two brothers, her two sons. She knows this. She gets offered by, what's his name? Rex to being like, this is probably too much for anybody's plate. You probably just want to take care of this. Which I think many citizens of Gotham would maybe agree. And she decides like last minute to not have this happen. What do you mean? What do you think your move is?
She really did suddenly have like a lot of faith that he was going to do very well and was willing to risk it. Of like, I'm gonna just holster this gun and it'll shoot things for me, kind of. Like,
yeah,
he's a weapon I'm gonna point around.
Yeah.
But like it's a weird choice because it's morally reprehensible, and she didn't feel backed into a corner because like Rex felt like he was still going to take care of her if he killed her son, and I was like, I think he would have been better off maybe blank slate.
Yeah, I mean she probably wouldn't end up comatose in a high rise, unable to escape or die.
Yeah,
I think it probably would have gone better for her.
That feels like a trip to Italy, maybe. You know what I mean? Get out of the country.
I mean, that's what Sophia should have done. She got offered several trips to Italy that she did not take.
But I do understand feminine rage. Like I do.
She got done dirty. Yeah,
she got done so. Okay, this show did such a good job of because she got done so dirty that first of all, when she killed her entire family, I was like, yes, yes, get them. Get those fuckers.
Absolutely. I like the dichotomy of this show where like Penguin killed his family. Bad. Sophia killed her family. Good. Everyone's got a story.
There's different types of families.
Not all families good.
Are you a vomiting family or a shitting family? There's differences.
I'm sorry, but the Oz's are for sure a shitting family. I don't even. They're not a vomit family.
No.
The Falcons, a vomit family.
Absolutely.
For sure.
They don't mix these two families.
They don't mix.
They don't go together.
The Falcons are a vomit family because if they were a shit family, they'd all be used to that amount of gas.
Oh
wow!
They'd all be sleeping. They'd all be sleeping with their windows open.
Yeah, exactly.
That is true. You can make yourself sick.
Woo, get that out of there. But to that point, Sophia, I'm gonna say that in the Gotham universe, right? You would line up Batman as the good guy and Sophia Falcone as the bad guy. She's the hangman. She's head of the Falcone crime family. And in that respect, I'm going to say that Sophia Falcone has done more to change and eliminate organized crime within Gotham City than Batman has in the I believe 2 years. He's been doing it 2 years in Gotham City at this point, or at the Batman. And by the way, all this happens within like 2 months.
It's a pretty quick, like we used to have a lot of mobs and now we have no mobs. It's a pretty fast turnaround. Yeah, she does. I mean, here's the biggest thing I think she's done for Gotham. She literally blew up every drop of bliss, the new drug.
Yeah,
she did do that.
There's now a bunch of people addicted to it who can't get it, but it's all gone.
It's all gone.
Because she blew that up. And then, she's gotten rid of like 2 or 3 gangs.
Maroni's gone.
Yep.
Falcone's gone.
She got rid of her own fucking name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, this is the patriarchy.
That's actually the best vengeance. I am so proud of her for that. Yeah, wiping your dad's legacy out by changing the name of the gang
Get
is
the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Delicious.
It was very good.
And then largely decided just like, I'm going to walk away from this. Like, just like, actually, you know what? This is bad. This is bad raising. This is a bad childhood that made me think I should be in charge of a crime family. Sit for a minute, think about it. Actually, I want the penguin to die for what he did to me. And also because he's a piece of shit. But then I'm just going to go. I'm going to go and I'm going to leave this fucking shit city and just go live in Italy somewhere. I wanted her to get that ending so bad.
Not back to the box.
No.
Not back to the box, man.
Not back to the box.
Oh, and when
I felt that with my whole soul. Oh my god.
And she was more excited to die than to go
Yes.
back to Arkham.
Dude.
She was like,
And
there's freedom at the end of this in some way.
And I thought they were going to kill. I thought the penguin was going to kill her. And I was like, I felt so bad about it. I was like, I loved this character. I loved the portrayal of this character so
acted
much.
the fuck out of it.
Oh, she's so good. And those outfits, damn.
Jesus Christ. A triple yum if I've ever seen
when
one.
when she's at the dinner table telling everyone off in that little
That
yellow
dress?
number.
No, stop.
And you're
that
Stop,
little
you
yellow number.
stop it.
there's no other way to describe
No,
that dress other than
it's
that
a
little yellow
it's a little number.
yellow number.
Yeah, it's just
It is
a little
the
number.
smallest little one you've ever seen.
Yeah, that's right.
The tape was doing a lot of work.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
tape
yeah.
was
A little
taping that day.
Oh yeah, a little
yeah.
boob tape there, for sure. But she, I forget what my original point was. Just with the
my
dress.
original
the
point
dress.
was kill me. Like she could
oh.
run me over with a car. Like I absolutely drive a stake through my heart. Yes.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I remember. I thought they were going to kill her.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a tragedy because I love this character so much. It seems like but it does seem like this is the natural end to this.
Yes.
And then it didn't happen. And I didn't see the play that the Penguin was going for and sending her back to Arkham. And I was like, that is so much worse. I kind of
It's
wish
worse.
he had killed her.
Me too. Yes, 100%. I had a moment where I understood like every man that's broken their TV set. I was like, nah! Like just full emotion. You know what I mean? Just too much.
Yeah, seeing this woman who had like gained so much power and more of a sense of self, and she was gonna get out and she was gonna be happy and free, just like be like almost comatose back in Arkham, back in that bed, not touching her food. I'm like, no, where's the woman I fell in love with? She's been destroyed by the institutions again.
God damn.
And let me ask you this, because you're like comic book, you know everything, all these connections. There is the scene at the end where she gets the letter from Selena Kyle, Catwoman, being like, we're half sisters or whatever, because like Selena Kyle is a daughter of
Carmen Falcone.
Carmen Falcone in the movie. That's established. Is that heading anywhere, or is that like
I don't think so. It's not from the comics. In the comics, Sophia is actually the hangman. She is actually a murderer.
Oh, okay.
Right off the bat. So I don't think it's going anywhere. To me, that was more of actually, this is my point. I'm going to give this point to Andrew because we were just talking about the show after it ended. To me, that was more of a like, Penguin and Sophia have crossed paths where now Penguin doesn't believe in family, but Sophia at the end is like, oh my God, family who might support me. So she's back onto the family train of like, family is good. And Penguin's on like, family is bad.
Right.
So they've kind of crossed who they are yet again.
Gotcha.
I don't imagine. I mean, like, I think that's kind of thing where you can be like, if like the people really want her there, they can put her in Batman too. And if people don't care, we'll just forget it ever happened.
Yeah.
I believe the public support would be like, put Sophia in Batman too. Because this show was very, very well received.
so good.
Yeah.
And she's so good.
So fucking good.
But yeah, comic book wise, it's not really anything as far as I know.
It's just like we're setting up a reason Sophia Falcone might be able to get out of Arkham.
yes.
Her half sister is the world's greatest cat thief.
Also, her warden is her boyfriend.
Yeah, she's not there.
I hate her boyfriend.
It's weirdly the
want
weirdest.
To punch. I hate his face. Do you ever just hate
The way he
somebody's
talks
face?
seemed
Just-
out
oh.
of place in a lot of the scenes he was in.
Yeah, like I don't mean like if I saw him in the street, I wouldn't hate his face. I just hate the character, what he does with his face. I hate his little fucking face. I just want to watch it.
I didn't hate him, but I didn't think he like made perfect sense. Everything everyone else was doing, I'm like, I get it. I get it. And then the boyfriend would show up and I'd be like, I don't know what you're getting from this. Did you help her in Arkham or not? Like,
What is she getting out of this?
yeah, other than just like a guy she can play with sexually if she is so inclined.
Oh, I guess she does get that.
Yeah, she does get
guess
that.
she does get that.
That ain't
You-
nothing.
If I'm gonna be
Stared off into the distance like you were like, what if that was me? What if that was me?
I'm also going to shout out Theo James for just having the weirdest typecasting because he almost played this exact same character on Luke Cage because he was like Mariah's like henchman. And he was like, oh, she's so cool and powerful.
I think I wiped Luke Cage from my memory.
Yeah.
I can
Half of
only
it was good.
Well, no, yeah, I only have so much TV space in my brain.
Totally fair. I've got to know it a little bit better. But I'm
Yeah.
like, oh.
It took a turn for it. That's about the time it took a turn for me.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
The Luke Cage point.
the Luke Cage? I got about halfway through Luke Cage and I was like, oh, this isn't like Mahershala Ali was like the coolest villain they had for a long. And then they like 3 episodes in and they're like, oh, he's dead now. And you're like, what?
Yeah, why? Anyway.
Stop that. Anyway, yeah, we're not talking about Luke Cage.
We're not. But it's like if they killed Sophia 3 episodes in.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, this is the best
Yes.
villain that's ever existed
wanna
and
re-
recast and yeah.
I want to hear everything about this woman. I would watch her for hours. She could have her own spin-off and I'd be like,
I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just wanted more of her. I will say anytime they did, this is what really blew me away. A lot of stuff blew me away, but the flashback of the mother, first of all, the mother, I was like, I believe it's you.
The casting.
I was
of
like,
young.
Oh, the young and the
Yes.
old versions?
Yes.
Yeah.
The mother,
Beautiful. Perfect.
holy fucking shit.
Did they get the Yellow Jackets casting agent to like
Yeah,
do
I was like, this is insane. Yeah, exactly that. Where I'm like, how are these characters so perfectly blended? You're acting your fucking ass off. And that kid they cast as the Penguin, creepy as fuck.
Yep.
They nailed
And you're like, that
creepy
kid's
as
going to grow up to be the Penguin.
Yes.
That's
creepy as fuck, but passable is not creepy when he chooses
Yes,
to
when
be.
he chooses to be. I was like, this is
Like-
a child actor.
Yeah, not just a kid who was like, okay, creepy and psychotic. God, he's like, oh, but I have to kind of be passable as a normal boy.
and nice. And yeah.
Yeah. Like I saw myself handing that kid a candy bar, and I also saw myself hitting him with a 2x4. I
Yeah.
was like, they had a great, that kid had great range. Great range.
I just want to take a minute and really pile on that comment because the temptation with modern special effects be like, we'll cast one person and then we'll fucking digitally de-age them. Take me back to one person being like, I'm gonna cast the shit out of this.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it believable that this is the younger version of it. And guess what? It's gonna be 2 actors. It's gonna be 2 actors, and they're just gonna work. It's just gonna work because I'm good at my job. Fuck all that de-aging thing. Hire 2 actors for young and old. We can all put it together.
Yes.
I'm on the hire 2 actors train, or just give them different hair and clothes and be like, yeah, that's them younger.
I love that too. Yes.
Batman Begins did this with Gary Oldman, and we loved it so much. No de-aging tech. They just dyed his hair darker brown and gave him a baseball cap. And like, yeah, he's 25 years younger. Look at him.
Well, and as we know on our bonus episode for this month, Gary Oldman can disappear into any role.
Any role.
Just a little bit of a teaser for what's coming
a
up.
little bit of a tiptoe around
What our bonus episodes
what
are
our
going to be.
bonus episode is.
Woo! Speaking of Gary Oldman,
The role of a lifetime.
I saw Tiptoe and I was like, "That's my Commissioner Gordon. Get him in the movie."
That's how he got the role.
This man can play.
Nolan saw Tiptoe, and he was like, that's him.
That's the guy, man.
That's Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. No, it really does. The young and old thing really works well in this.
Yeah, they
young
nail the
old.
shit out of it. The way they speak, everything. It's just
Yep.
perfection.
Yeah. The other point I wanted to make in defense of the villains in this is and this is kind of more of a contrast to the Batman movie, which I loved the Penguin so much. I took a day off and I was like, I'm going to rewatch the Batman, which I enjoyed the first time, enjoyed it the second time. It's a good movie. But the Penguin series really highlights how ineffectual and bad Batman is at his job.
Oh, yeah.
Real bad. Because, in the Batman, he spends the entire time working with and solving crimes surrounding Gotham's upper class. They're all in the same socioeconomic class as Bruce Wayne. In the Batman, the victims are the mayor, the district attorney. The Riddler's also targeting Bruce Wayne, which he doesn't realize is the same person. But like they're all like the upper crust people. And that's why Batman is so obsessed with it. And that's why his resources are going into this. And then you sort of like, I feel like the Penguin is literally like a pan down into the gutter, right? Like Batman's up on the rooftops of these old Gothic skyscrapers and like watching over the city. And then you pan down, you're like, by the way, there's no public infrastructure down here. There's no social services. The only people who are providing jobs or protection or anything like that are people like the Penguin. We have literally no choice but to turn to him. And he doesn't show up places. He is completely oblivious to all of this fucking crime family shit that is going on.
Mm-hmm. I will agree and disagree because
Okay.
I agree Batman doesn't do anything good pretty much in the Batman movie because the city gets flooded.
Yes.
He just completely fails. Batman was on the case and the city still got flooded. I don't mind so much that in that movie he is helping the upper echelon, but you're right, he's not down on the streets. But like the city wasn't flooded yet in that movie. So like
No.
it was still very bad though. Like the city was still in a rough shape, but like the city is so much worse now.
True. Yeah.
After the flooding.
Yeah, and in the Batman, he does say, "I can't be everywhere at once."
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like he's anywhere at once.
Exactly. and I had this argument.
It's like
That's
you're
my
yelling
point.
at your 3-year-old, like, I can't be everywhere at once. Like,
But it also shows like what a small threat they view the Batman. Like they barely mention the Batman because they talk about the Riddler. They talk about what he did to the city and like how it fucked everyone up and fuck that guy and like that guy was a psycho and whatever. But nobody mentions Batman because the Riddler flooded the entire city and like killed so many people. And Batman was at the stadium and kicked the ass of like a few guys with rifles and saved half a dozen people. That's it. That he was so bad at solving
so bad.
the crimes.
Wow.
They treated him with such respect. They were like, "Oh, let him into the crime scenes and he can take all the evidence." And it was like, he didn't shit with that.
He did shit. He didn't figure it out. He didn't
His
learn
own
to rip up
butler-
the carpet.
His own butler got blown up.
Right, exactly. And he didn't. And also, sorry, not to make this about the Batman, but they do dovetail into each other. He didn't give a shit about Selena Kyle's, Catwoman's dead roommate.
No.
Like her whole motivation in the Batman is that her roommate went missing because she had dirt on the one of the Falcons. Oh, Falcone actually kills her. Yeah. That's I did like that they set up that Falcone is like strangles women all the time. Like they did that in the movie, and then they're like, yeah, it's probably him that did it.
It's probably, yes.
It's like, was it his daughter that did it?
Angry man.
Or was it the daughter? It was
You
like,
know how women just kill women all the time.
yeah. You know how they do that.
Yeah.
I'm a crime boss. So, you know, when I say go.
Women can do anything.
Yeah. So we got serial killers, Craig.
That is feminist.
Yeah. Falcone was a feminist. He's like, my daughter could be a murderer.
Yeah.
She could kill people. But yeah, Batman doesn't care about the dead roommate.
He doesn't care.
Nah, he doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't care. I do love that this show is like a direct spin-off of a movie that really makes you feel like you're not doing homework though. Like no
Oh.
Easter eggs, almost no tie-ins. The tie-ins are so reasonable. At no point did I think Batman was gonna like break through a window.
No.
I
Even
didn't
though, like,
want it to either.
I
didn't-
also
yes.
didn't want it to, but I was like, oh, I see why Penguin can just like not expect Batman to jump through a window. Like his normal everyday life is just Batman is not here.
And that's Sophia Falcone's thing. That's most of the Falcone. That's the Maronis. That's everybody. Is just like, oh, we can have conversations in jail about being super fucking corrupt. We can burn mobsters alive, and we don't have to worry at all about some weird vigilante showing up. That guy's a joke. We don't have to worry about him.
Well, as you just described, he is a joke.
He is.
He is. We saw it all in the last movie.
Yeah.
He's faffing about up there. He's just flapping around.
Yeah, and back to your point though, I also appreciated that where there were so many times in this show where I was like, oh, they're going to be like, this is the reason he's got this. Or like, this is the story behind his facial scar because he's got like a big... and the restraint that they showed in not being like, and now he's the Penguin, everybody knows. Like at the end, like first of all, just the thing where he makes the deal with the city councilor. And he's like, I'm going to turn all these people in. You will have your scapegoat. You'll be great. You cleaned up the thing. And the city councilor goes, you're going to have to start looking a little more presentable. And you're like, oh, okay. Oh. And I was like, I joked to Kat as we were watching. It's like, next stop, monocles are us. To get a long pipe. But then at the end, they show him, and he's in a very nice tuxedo, and he is holding and not wearing a top hat. And I love that they were like, nope. We're not gonna show him in a tuxedo and top hat. He's gonna hold it. You know what it is. Restraint.
He will never have an umbrella.
Well, he did in the Batman, but it was raining.
It was raining. No, like he's not like my thing is umbrella.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's the other thing. It was like I love they stick to the color scheme where it's like he's got that purple Maserati, and you're like, oh yeah, you're a little tacky, but you're not like I'm dressed in a purple tuxedo with a long nose and a what do you call that long cigarette?
Oh, what are those long cigarettes?
His mother
called?
had one though. Like, there was all these elements, but they didn't feel the need to pay that off.
Well, because you can't make him cartoonish and also be like, he came out of the pussy this way. Like, he came out of the womb. Just like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't come out just as a psychopath and then be like, and now, you can't do that.
Well, I would think 99% of Batman villains would disagree with you.
Well, no, because it feels like a lot of them are slowly created that way. Like it's something happens to them. There's some sort of origin story. No, this man shot out of the womb that way.
Yeah.
No, I agree with Rebecca because like Two-Face gets acided.
Yes.
Joker also gets acided.
A lot of acid,
There is a lot of unregulated chemical plants in Gotham City.
Yes.
That is for sure.
Clayface falls into a vat of weird clay. It's a lot of falling in vats. But Penguin doesn't have anything like that. He's just like, I'm just a guy who does crime, but I'm not as psychopathic about it as the rest of them. But I am very evil and kill. Like
he's slightly more organized. He's an organized crime guy.
He doesn't want to destroy Gotham.
No,
but he does want to do crime.
Yeah.
He just wants to be out there doing crime
and be loved by the community and do crime.
I will also say on the I liked everything you said about like they don't go too far about the on the Penguin front of like making it too comic booky or too out of it. Because other things they did that I was like, oh, what's this gonna be? Because Victor, there are two supervillains named Victor. There's Victor Freeze, Mr. Freeze, and there's Victor Zsasz, who's a serial killer.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, so is he gonna be Freeze or Zsasz? And he was like, oh, you're just a guy named Victor.
Yeah.
Oh shit, you really got me on that.
You don't. Not everyone needs to be like, and this is setting up something else.
Not everyone is everything from a comic book or something. I'm like, oh, he's just his own guy.
And Victor needed to go. He needed to go. He was too, and I think that's why they gave him so many little speeches at the end of like, I'm going to rally the troops. I'm going to get all these bad guys to follow me into battle. And every time, and it didn't work. And it was always in such a tone of you are so far the fuck out of your depth. You have no idea what you're doing. You should have got on that bus with that girl. You're so fucking unbelievably dumb to think that this is what you have to do now. I understood him at the beginning where I'm like, you got nothing, you got nobody, you had a gun to your head. Okay. And you kind of got out of that a bit. The second that big money hits your hand and a pretty girl's like, get on a bus and let's get out of here, do it! Do it! Get the fuck on the fucking bus, you dumb ass.
I don't understand why every bus out of Gotham isn't at capacity. What a shit town.
How much is bus fare?
Yeah. That's how they get you a bus ticket's like $3,000.
Yeah.
They're like, if you want to get out of here, you gotta pay.
It's free to get into Gotham City. You gotta get it.
It's like fucking shuttles driving people to a casino. Just like, get in here. We need bodies. We need bodies.
We need fodder for the villain.
Yes.
I think you're right, and it's like he is a little bit too naive because even when he's thinking about going to with the girl, because he goes to the bus stop and he like thinks about it, he like almost leaves, and Penguin is like, "You're gonna take my money and you're gonna leave." He was like, "I wasn't actually gonna take any of your money." I'm like, "Well, you should have taken the money."
Yes, of course, take the money.
If you're running out of Gotham forever and you're gonna go to a different city, take all of the Penguin's money to start a new life with this girl. So even in his like conflictedness, he was still way too good a person.
Yeah.
And then he just shoots Squid, though, so whatever. Squid didn't really feel like he deserved it. That like other gangster he shot right near the end, episode 6 or 7.
Oh.
Yeah, that was kind of more of like you're really in this now. Like, there's no turning back for you. You know, Penguin said deal with it, and he did, like, in the way that he thought that he wanted it taken care of. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. The last 2 episodes had, I would say, the word per minute on crazy was the most I've ever seen. Like, it was back to back the most psychotic speeches I have ever heard. Like, the whole time, the whole last 2 episodes, I was like, what is happening? I just kept putting my arms up. I was in my own living room with my arms in the air going, what on earth?
I think you were also Sophia Falcone, because my favorite scene is when they're at the Monroe and she's like, at odds, admit that you killed your brothers, and then your mom's going to tell you that she doesn't love you. And then the mom starts doing a big speech about, she's like, I know, and you're a bad son.
Yes.
And Sophia's just like, let him cook. And she just backs away. And she's like, yes, it's happening.
I was like, you were going to let them cut your mother's finger off
Instead of admitting you killed your brothers.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
That was also a moment where I was like, oh, you're like, it's such a good moment of like the conflict between I need to protect myself, like, and I mean that from the standpoint of I need to not admit that I killed my brothers because I need you to think of me as a certain kind of guy.
Yeah.
And just like, and you're gonna cut off my mother's finger if I don't. Like, I was like, oh, that's really good tension. Like, that's not a give up the drugs or we hurt your mother. He would give up the drugs. But it's like, admit this very dark thing admit who you actually are.
Chilling.
Versus we hurt your mother. And I was like, oh, I get that as a conflict.
As a conflict, it was so tension filled, especially because there's probably that part of you, if you're the Penguin, who's like, well, if I don't admit to it, she'll really believe I didn't kill them. If I let them cut off her finger, maybe she'll be like, I guess he didn't kill them, or he would have admitted to it.
Yeah.
There's kind of a like talk back in your head that you can tell yourself. Yeah, the tension in that scene. And then she stabbed him.
Yes! Yeah. When she stabbed him, I screamed. I went, ah! Like, I was so reactive to the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Well, and then when Vic gives him the pep talk as he's like the Penguin stapling himself shut in the hospital after like bringing his mother there.
That's what I'm talking about. He's trying to rally. He's always trying to rally the troops.
But I thought for a minute, I was like, oh, this is it. This is Vic coming into his own. It's showing him that like, I'm going to be your right hand guy. And I'm going to, like, I thought it was going to be like Penguin and then Vic is the lieutenant. And then that last episode where he just goes, I shouldn't have said family.
He killed his literal brothers.
I know.
I just didn't know that.
I know, but I kept yelling that at the TV. I was like, get out, Vic! Get out! He killed his 2 brothers.
As a child. He's
going to kill you.
Yeah, and just his ability to smooth talk his way out of like
him yelling at a dead body, I beat you.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Oh, that was a moment that confused me. Did Maroney have a heart attack?
He did.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that established and I missed it? That he had a bad heart? Because he'd been stabbed earlier. But I just feel like he had a heart attack. His mom has a stroke later. I'm like, a lot of natural causes
that
here.
was my biggest criticism. I was like, I think you can do that once.
Yeah.
It's a coincidence. Like, I think it's better for Maroney because it's like, this is a guy that the Penguin has tried to kill.
Yeah.
You didn't actually beat him.
And he didn't actually beat him. He just like goes down because he's in a fight. And like, I don't know, maybe he did hemorrhage out. Maybe he like burst a
I'm gonna
stitch or
push
something
back
like
a
that.
bit on this in saying that I think actually this should happen more.
Oh,
When are you gonna get? When are you lose? Like, when are you gonna get a stroke? When are you gonna get a heart attack?
shoveling snow.
When you're
Oh, is that statistically the most time? Yeah. That sounds like something you'd know. Yeah.
and what feels like shoveling snow?
Beating someone
Beating the
up.
penguin up.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm just saying, like, hard physical activities,
Yeah.
yelling, stressful situations.
Yeah, no,
Maybe
true.
you screaming at your son, you fucking killed them. These
Yeah, that was
elevated-
actually a pretty brutal murder
These-
too that the penguin
oh.
did on his wife. Oh, they're like, yeah, you're like, oh no, this is
So
not a nice guy.
these situations, honestly, I'm not surprised. I am actually
He had,
surprised.
he had his adrenaline up. Yeah.
There's not more in movies where it's just somebody in a gunfight and then just passes out. Just
Too
they're
much
done.
excitement.
Yeah, that bullet was too close to my head. I'm done. Okay.
Yeah, more panic attacks probably. I think there should be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Maroney hadn't had like proper medical care for that stab wound either, so he was probably still low on blood. He might have had some kind of infection. Although I thought they had like broken some like drugs stuff and like chemicals, and he'd like inhaled it. But I'm like, the penguin's fine. He's in the same room.
Yeah,
so.
no, I think that was
Yeah, it was just a heart
Just a
attack.
heart
Yeah.
attack. Yeah, and
I'm just
speaking
saying,
of,
I believe.
you're right. He did not, and he was not properly healed because again, I mentioned this at the beginning, but the time frame that this must take place in is fucking insane. Because the Batman, the movie, ends with the election, right? It's election night, which in the United States, even for municipal elections, most municipalities, it's November, like November 6th, same as the presidential, whatever. Maybe shifted a year or whatever. But it's November, and then you don't take office until like January, probably sometime around January 6th.
Why would we remember that?
Why would
date?
I remember that date? I don't know why. But like that's usually how it works, right? And in this show, when the penguin goes to the city hall, he picks up a sign and it says Mayor-elect Real, who was elected at the end of the Batman, which means that she would be mayor if this took place any time past January. So this happens between early November and early January. This happens almost entirely in November, December, possibly end of January. I'm not sure exactly what the date is, but like
Worst-
it's 3 months. It's 3
Worst
months.
Christmas ever.
Right?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Gotham gets flooded. It gets blown up.
Yeah.
Batman's a no-show.
Hey, not a lot of Christmas tree fires. We're okay.
Not a lot of Christmas tree fires. Not that there would be a well-funded fire department to take it down.
No. Okay, so that is such a short period of time. Because, yeah, I actually will say that is a complaint I have about this show. They do kill a lot of people, and it eventually gets to the point where I'm like, you're going to kill this person. You're going to kill this person. You're going to kill this person. I kind of like when there are reasons to not kill people. One of my favorite scenes is when Sophia doesn't kill Eve, Penguin's girlfriend.
Yeah. Oh, that scene.
Oh,
That's
it's
a great scene,
It's a beautiful,
yeah.
tension-filled scene. And it's like the only scene in the whole show where it wasn't like, and then I just killed the person at the end of the scene.
Yeah, other than, I guess, the final scene with Sophia as well.
Yes, where they sent her
Yeah.
to jail.
Yes.
And also when Sophia actually doesn't kill her little cousin either in the hospital, which is very surprising.
I really liked it when she doesn't kill what's his face, Johnny Vitti, and then she just kills him in the because
That
he
was
starts
so
talking back
cool.
to her, and he's just like,
Yeah. You got to fire one person on the first day. Okay, when you're boss.
Yeah, it's like when you go to jail and you got to beat up the toughest guy.
Yeah,
you
and I
just
was like,
gotta show them you
oh,
mean
wow.
business.
wow,
Yeah, that moment ruled.
Because, like, you're like, okay, they've set sort of Johnny Vitti up to be, like, the guy, the old school guy that she has to, like, sort of press back against and show that she knows what she's doing.
Nope.
We're not doing this.
Buddy. I like it.
Yeah, to spare him just to kill him in front of everyone as a power play after she got the
Yeah.
information and money was like, oh, girl. Oh, I want to work for you. You don't
do.
kill women. Like, you're the opposite of what you got framed for. You literally don't kill women.
Yes.
You let them live.
Hire me as your
killed-
dress.
yeah.
You know what I
She
mean?
killed,
Let's
like,
just
her
throw me
cousin.
on there.
That little,
Hire you in her dress.
Yeah, I just
that
I'll do
little
that.
red scarf that, like, just tucked into the dress.
Oh, the little boob scarf was
Yeah,
so...
I was
Oh.
like,
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen this before. Why is it doing something to me?
It It was like the boob version of a pocket square.
Yeah. It was the boob version of a pocket square.
Yeah.
You're like, apparently that's a thing I'm into.
Yeah.
Very memorable.
You like a classy lady, Craig.
I guess so.
I guess so.
Good for me.
a classy, strong woman
Yes.
runs her own business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Girl power.
Girl power. Absolutely. That should be the tagline. HBO's The Penguin. Girl power.
Girl power. Jesus Christ.
Up until episode 7.
Then it gets crazy.
And I think that does it. Just about does it for us. Any other quick comments that we want to make about The Penguin?
Watch it. It
Watch
was
it,
so good. It was honestly one of the best series I've seen in a while.
And the villain was right. Sophia was right.
Yeah, hey, if you want to watch villains, this is it. This is the one. Finally, we've come into an age where somebody finally figured out that all of the best parts of the Batman are the villains.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've really come into a new era with this and Harley Quinn. Like, there's just been a lot of good stuff, and I'm just excited.
You didn't see Joker too.
Oh, I did not. I did not.
I did.
And that's why I feel so sunny. I feel great. I'm having a good
But
life.
the villains are very interesting, and this was a very good show.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So it is now time to give our definitive rankings of how good the villain is. I've got the birds that Oz Cobb is more similar to than a penguin.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so on a scale from an owl,
Yeah.
which only comes out at night, rarely seen during the day, all the way to a cuckoo, sneaks itself in the nest and pushes all the other babies out. So a psychopathic murderer. I'm going to give him a parrot. He talks a lot of shit, is sort of charming at first, but you notice he's only in it for himself and to get those crackers.
Nice. What do you got, Diana?
I did Sophia, not Penguin.
Nice.
On a scale of girl boss to crime boss,
Hey.
I gave Sophia a who's the boss because the boss.
Hey, Tony Danza.
Oh no, because the boss is Angela, but she's not the lead of the show.
Love it.
Oh, that's great. I too came up with a bird scale, but these don't have anything to do with the penguin, except for the ranking in and of itself. So from a chicken, regular bird, all the way up to D from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I am going to give the penguin an ostrich that chased my friend's mom around because he is evil, and that bird needs to be put down. That is a true story. That happened.
I want to hear the rest on your hero or villain of the week in a moment.
They just lived really close to an ostrich farm, and one of them got out, and anyway, and then it chased her around for a bit.
Hashtag rural community problem.
Yes. Anyway, if you've ever met an ostrich, you know I'm not lying. They're terrifying birds, and that's what I'm going to give the penguin, because holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we get to our heroes and villains of the week, as always, team, there are a couple of ways you can help out the podcast. If you've got a couple of bucks, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/villainwasright. If you want bonus content, we've mentioned it earlier this episode. We have 2 bonus picks a month. I pick an excellent movie that we all love talking about, and then Craig picks something else. And this month I picked Tiptoes. Which has been
Gary Oldman.
With Gary Oldman. It's been on our list for a while. It was a watch, team. So you're going to have to head on over and check that out, because my God, did I have a lot of things to say about this.
Yeah. And if you're more into the Batman side of things, we did, for our bonus episode this month, also did do The People's Joker.
Yes.
Which is it's a Batman parody. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Fun movie to talk about for sure. We also have audience choice tiers. We have ad-free tiers. And if you would like to get in touch with us.
Yeah, we are available on most social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, at Villain Was Right. So if you want to see a video of us talking, little clips from the show, head on over to TikTok or Instagram as well. If you want to get in touch with us, this wasn't an audience suggestion. We decided to do this, but we have a whole email that is absolutely chock full of all these suggestions from you guys. If you want to get in touch, villainwasright@gmail.com is probably the best way to reach us. We do check that. We do put it on a big list. So you can check us out there. Thank you so much. And now it is time for our heroes and villains of the week. What do you got, Rebecca?
Oh, I've got a couple of heroes.
Nice.
As you know, sorry, I'm also petting Scar at the same time.
I am too. Weird.
Yes.
I'm in on that. Oh,
yeah, it's good. It's the good stuff. A couple of heroes. So as you know, I have been touring, traveling, and sometimes, your flights and your check-in times don't work out. So I was flying into Winnipeg. We were going to Winnipeg. That was our stop. And we just arrived like super early, like way too early to check in. And the people were super nice about it. They're like, we'll take your number the second one of these rooms is open, what have you. But my friend Tamara, who I'm touring with, we've had her on the podcast a few times, tremendous comedian. She has just one of these personalities where every room she walks into, like somebody falls in love with her. It's just like she's got a magnetic energy. I've never seen anybody pull it off quite like her. Like, it's just everywhere she goes, we make new friends. Everybody wants to hang out. I'm like, I don't have this. I have anxiety. This isn't the vibe for me, but whatever. Anyway, so we're in Winnipeg. We've arrived. We drop off our suitcases at the hotel because they're like, yeah, we'll take them for you, whatever. And we're trying to figure out where we're going to eat. And there's this elderly couple that overhears Tamara and they go, oh, well, there's a great diner just a little bit down the road. We'll drop you off there. And I'm like, what? Right? Because we're all like, we're all sleep deprived. Like, we took a really, really early flight. Like, I'm like, what do you mean? And we get outside, and I'm still in zombie mode. We get outside, and this elderly couple's like moving stuff from their back seat of their like Kia to be like, okay, yeah, we'll drive you girls down the road. So they drive us like 10 minutes down the road to go get diner food. Let us out, like, just thank you so much. We offer them free tickets to the comedy show. They're like, oh, we don't stay up that late. Like, they're like old.
They're going to bed after this.
Oh, yeah, man. And I'm telling you, when's the last time you had a breakfast that was $6.50?
Oh!
What? It was like going.
That's what my coffee cost.
That's what I'm saying. It was like going back in time with like coffee and tip. I think it was like, and a good tip. It was like $12. And I was like, what is happening here? So anyway, they're my heroes of the week. It was the funniest fucking thing. We're all sitting down at the breakfast table. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just need to say this once. None of us are freaking out about what just happened, and I need to know why. What do you mean an elderly couple drove us here that we just met? It was crazy.
That's so nice.
Anyway, it was just very folksy and very nice, and the breakfast was really decent, and they knew the spots. It was us and 100 elderly people in that place, and it was the greatest thing ever.
Oh, they let you in on the elderly place.
They
They were like,
did.
we'll give you a pass.
They gave us the scoop, man. They had shredded potatoes. It was awesome.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I love a shred. I love
Yeah.
a shredded potatoes. Anyway, so yeah, they were my heroes of the week. What do you got for us, Diana?
My heroes are, I apologize for the shameless plug, but that's why I'm here.
Yay!
My heroes are everyone who came to my book launch this week. That's my quick hero. I was really nervous about it. It's a free event. It was the same weekend as Taylor Swift. I was like, people aren't going to want to go through the traffic to get to my book launch. It's not that big a deal, but I would love people to be there. So I was very stressed about it. So I wanted to thank everyone who showed up. And then my special extra thanks is to my wonderful partner, Andrew, who was so supportive and like would walk me off a cliff. I was getting ready for the book launch and I packed my bags. He's like, how many books did you pack? I'm like, I packed like 20. There's going to be like no one there. I'm probably going to like bring them all home. He's like, pack more books because he believes in me and he's wonderful. And I was like, no, I only need 20. He's like, pack more books. So I put like 10 or 15 more books in the bag. I shoved them in. And then at the launch, I only had 4 books left at the end. I actually had to tell my good friends to go to the back of the line so people I didn't know could definitely get books because I thought I was going to run out. People did show up. Andrew was right. It was very, very nice. It meant a lot to me. So my heroes are him specifically and also everyone else who came up to support a little author.
That's so sweet.
Real
You
sweet.
crushed it. You crushed it. It was honestly, it was so funny. And like you, the chapters you read there, I was like, oh, I cannot wait to, like, mine arrives tomorrow as we're recording.
Mine arrived today. I'm so excited.
The battle of the books.
Yeah,
I
that's
cannot
right.
wait to read Sex Lives from Superheroes because like the things that you read, the Batman chapter that you got into I was like, this is so interesting. And then you just like left hooked us with a joke, and like the crowd went wild, and it was
I'm
such
so
it was such a
excited.
good event, honestly. Standing room only too. I
That's
just
right.
Diana is too.
My girl sells out.
yeah.
That's right.
Standing
of course.
room only.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're very kind. No, you're
the
very
best.
sincerely kind. That's why you're part of the heroes. You were there.
Yeah.
You were away.
I was out of
but
town. I
Yeah.
do apologize, but I did get pre-order,
You
and I got
pre-ordered
mine
a book.
today.
That is.
Yes, I did.
I'm on your podcast. You've done everything you need to do.
I mean, we know you know the producer. We couldn't.
I booked it.
Yeah.
So I got you guys a guest this week.
Yeah, it's me.
Right.
Oh, fantastic!
Craig?
Yeah, check out Sex Lives from Superheroes, everybody. Yeah, I have a. I guess this is a villain, but I got a lot of joy out of this.
Sophia level
right.
villain.
Yeah. So I was in Ottawa doing some comedy shows at the comedy club there, and we were about. I think this was like Friday morning, and the other comedian comes into the condo, and he goes like, "Oh, I was just for a walk. I was walking by the club, and they were saying like somebody broke in and like stole a bunch of money and like booze and stuff like that from the club." And we're like, "Oh my God, oh no, like that's not good. Oh, that sucks." And then we go in that night, and we're ready to perform, and everything looks all right and everything. And one of the guys goes, "We got to show you. You guys come upstairs right now. We're going to show you the security footage of this guy who broke in." So this guy climbed in a second-story window, which had a bar across it, and they were like, "We didn't think a human could fit in between this bar here, so now there are two bars on it." But I saw it and I was like, actually, that's pretty fucking impressive. Like you climbed up on a roof and like or up a fire escape and like squeezed through this little spot. But that's not the funniest part. So I guess like the motion sensors like on the second floor were not working for whatever reason. So this guy was in here for an hour, and he tried to clock in to start working. They have video of him like playing
They have,
around.
like a fingerprint.
It's a fingerprint
Yeah.
scanner, and they show him like trying to scan his fingerprint to clock in. He is then caught on video sweeping the floor of like the kitchen and like back room.
What?
Yeah, he's sweeping the floor. He at one point the phone rings in this office, and he answers the phone and takes a reservation.
That's so funny.
They're like, "Yeah, we want take." Like you can kind of hear it over the thing, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and he picks like a random business card off of like the bulletin board and like reads them the number, but like it's not the number for anything. He just like gives them the number. By the way, the club tried to figure out who that phone call was, and they couldn't, so they can't call them back to be like, "That wasn't us.
You spoke to a criminal.
You spoke to a criminal." This guy, so he took a reservation. This guy's pretty much working here at this point.
so great.
He then tried to write himself a check on their checkbook, like on the branded business checkbook, using
Untraceable.
his own name, and then left it there. So the staff looked up the name on social media, and I was like, "That's the guy." He then, this is after he's been in here an hour, sweeping, taking
So
calls,
great.
everything. He stole half the cash from the cash register. Like they were like, he didn't even get all the cash. Like he didn't even look that hard. There was other cash there he didn't take, and one bottle of Patron that was in the thing, and then walked out the front door, at which point he set off the alarm because those alarms were working.
That's so funny.
And we were just like, yeah, that guy's gonna get
That guy's awesome. That's awesome. I love every
Crime
part
of
of
the
that.
century.
No, that's sick as hell.
Oh, he also took some merch.
Never let
and
them
was
know your
wearing
next
it.
move.
Oh, sorry, and he left his jacket behind as well. That was the piece of.
Oh, party time.
Oh God, yeah. So that's my. That's a villain of the week, but like also kind of my hero because I brought me so much joy and laughter just watching this guy. Fucking, I don't sweep my own place.
Yeah, are we sure he didn't work there and thought it was his shift? Like,
Well, knowing the people that work there,
He for
quite
sure.
possibly.
I think one, he had to be high. Two, definitely had worked customer service.
Yeah,
The first-
yeah.
Nobody who hasn't worked customer service hears a phone. Like it's like muscle memory. You go, hello, Blockbuster Video. Thank you for calling. Like the number
Maybe
of
he was
times
having,
at
like, a-
home I would answer, thank you for calling Blockbuster Video.
It's having like a trauma reenactment. Or
Oh,
something.
yeah. Anyway, villain of the week.
Awesome. That's
Loved it.
so funny.
Amazing. I like that you chose an actual criminal for the Penguin episode.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, this is a caper.
Thematic.
This
This is a caper. Batman, get on it.
oh man, world's greatest detective.
That's where he was the whole series.
Yeah.
He was dealing with this one man.
Try to track that down. Yeah. But that does it for us this
found
week.
it. Found it.
Sundowning. There we go. You can follow me at Craig Faye Comedy on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, craigfaye.com for show dates. I will be headlining Toronto Absolute in December. So come on out for that. And Diana, what do you got going on?
Oh, nothing. Just forget it. No, just forget it. Just skip me. Yes, my book, Sex Lives of Superheroes, is available now wherever you get your books. It's published by Penguin Random House, so wherever you get your books, it'll be there. If you want the audio version, it's also available, narrated by Andrew Ivimey, who was my hero of the week. He's my hero in many ways. So their audiobook, ebook, physical book, it's out there. And if you want to hear my voice more, I also have a podcast called Talk from Superheroes, so check that out too.
Hell yeah. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Rebecca Reeds on any platform of your choosing. If you want to see me, I have dates coming up in Toronto, Hamilton, and Halifax, which I know is a weird combination of places, but that's where I'm going to be. So just follow me on anything to catch those dates. And this is us.
Yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, it's audience choice. You guys pick Flubber, and let me tell you, I am going off. I have thoughts on Flubber.
Science me, Craig. Science
so
me.
make sure you tune in for that this week. And until then, this is The Villain Was Right, reminding you that carbon monoxide detectors save lives.
The Villain Was Right was produced by Andrew Ivimey for the From Superheroes Network. For more great podcasts like this, as well as YouTube series, webcomics, and so much more, visit FromSuperheroes.com.